Alright, so this is gonna be hilarious because there are so many people that can be used for example. Where do we start? This is exactly as the title reads. Who do you believe are some of the servants that got robbed if we're basing it on lore? So I'm gonna start off with David. Alright, David is not only one of the most important kings in the Bible, but one of the most important figures in the Testament altogether. And the Testament is objectively one of the greatest books of all time. Oh, that's supposed to be him before he was in his prime. That makes it even worse. You know what David was doing before his prime? Commanding armies, slaying giants. This dude had buffs from God his entire life. If you tried to do harm to David, God would literally have you suplexed. 3-star. Huh? We got Julius Caesar. He is also a 3-star. Julius Caesar is one of the greatest names known to Roman history. This is a man that lost nearly everything he had, was on the run, and still turned around and achieved one of the highest positions you could. He's the greatest military commander of his time. Many say one of the best of all time. There was a point where he got captured by pirates and held for ransom, and he told the pirates that his ransom wasn't high enough. Are you kidding me? I know I'm worth more than that. He was with Cleopatra. She's a 5-star. Well deserved, but there was a point where he bailed her out of issues that she had. Still didn't make the cut. Boy, I tell you. You got St. George, he's a 2-star. Let's just completely ignore him slaying an entire dragon with no help. He was one of the personal bodyguards for the Roman emperor. The very fact that you can put little to his background is even more of a reason why he should have it. You can't tell him he didn't. There's more of a reason to say that he was great than vice versa. Fate is all about mystery and old age. That's where the greatest beings come from. Siegfried. Siegfried is on record to be the counterpart to Sigurd, who is also 5 stars. He's had several successful military expeditions. He defeated Fafnir on his own. That alone should give it to him. He became invincible. He's got Balmung. He was hanging with Karna, who to this day is still credited for being one of the best servants. He's also 5-star. But nonetheless, Sumanai is all they give him. Sad story to tell. Cuchulainn. This is the oldest one in the book. This is actually a crime. One of the greatest heroes of Irish myth. People flat out calling him Irish Hurt. This man was fighting off whole armies by himself as a child and an adult. He was giving out one-on-one handicaps and they still had to jump him. He's got his warp spasm form, which is hinted to be stronger than Ku-Alter. I'm gonna be honest, he really should be 6 stars. He should be as strong as Ku-Alter in his regular form. And while we're on Ku, what happened to Fergus? Flat out used to be the king of Ulster. He's the one that fostered Ku. He taught him how to fight before he met Skahawk. I guess his skills don't count. Great military leader. Remember that sword that Ymir used to take one of the lives from Heracles? Calibold? That's his sword. Could have used any sword, but he decides to use the sword of a 3-star. Don't you find that strange? Robbery. Medea. Now Medea might not be the strongest mage in the world, but I know for certain having Rule Breaker, being able to summon servants, having power from the age of gods ought to give you something. Solomon, the king of magecraft, saying that you're goated ought to give you something. I mean, the last one alone should have gave her more than 3 stars. The high fashion sense should have gave her more than 3 stars. Why you do her like this? We get it, she's fragile. You touch her, she dies. But don't act like she's not a glass cannon too. Meanwhile, her Lily version is 4 stars. Fionn. Oh, they did my boy Fionn so wrong. He is the most famous person in Irish myth next to Ku. He's been compared as Irish Gilgamesh, Irish Arturia. He was the head of the army that Diarmu was a part of. Yet if you see them standing next to each other, you could hardly tell the difference. You would have thought Diarmu was better. What do y'all got going on? He slayed a fire-breathing god. He slayed multiple mountain-sized serpents. He had a spear that never missed. He was a master of magecraft. He had a countless amount of mystic codes. He had clairvoyance. A lot of people forget that he ate the salmon of knowledge. Every time that he bit down on his thumb, he gained all the knowledge in the world. That's grand level activity. And technically, he never died. He's still in the cave waiting on the day that Ireland needs him most. He should have an immortality buff like Herc. But you know what? 4 star. Here's another one. Spartacus. 1 star? A man who was enslaved, broke out of prison fighting with kitchen utensils, commanded his own army and had his superiors on the run and was winning? That sounds like 1 star to you? A man that was all muscle from 0 to 100,000 people on his side? That sounds like one star to you? Such dishonorable and blatant disrespect should be punished by the guillotine. It's crazy how people that have never picked up a weapon can make it into 5-star, yet you have people who were military commanders who literally specialize in war and they can't even make it into SR. What type of game is this? Same thing for Leonidas. This man was 60 years old, outperforming the best of the best, people that were half his age. The Battle of Thermopylae is one of the greatest fights of mankind. Xerxes pulled up and he said, "We don't care what you got, it's going down." 1 star? I ain't gonna lie, y'all got it, bruh. Let's run down Chiron. His father, Cronus, was a titan who are canonically stronger than gods. The titan that started it all. His mother was a sea deity. Him, 4-star. Excuse me? He taught no less than 100 people in Greek myth, most of them going on to become heroes. From Herc to Achilles, both of them being top tier. He's a master of combat. He killed Achilles in Lost Bell 5. Even when Achilles punched his heart out in Apocrypha, he still shot his noble phantasm after the fact. Bibi, I understand that she was a free servant and all, but respectfully, she should be no less than 6 stars in any class that she's in. She has complete control over the moon cell, flat out stated to be a god while she's there. She single-handedly created the Sakura 5, who are all part divine top tier servants. She's the reason that Kiara was even able to emerge in the first place. The reason that Kiara even got that strong is because she took in servants that BB created. And in grand order, the story hints that she would have, in no exaggeration, took over the world if she didn't come to our side. Of course, you can't forget the round table. Tristan, Gawain, and Lancelot, all 3 of them should be 5-star. Lancelot a countless amount of times has been stated to be the strongest of the round. Gawain is on par with him, and Tristan is on par with Lancelot in myth. Yet Mordred is a 5-star, and by the book she's worse than all 3 of them. How does that work? Rama. This is another old classic. Complementary to pretty much any Hindu servant, he's been nerfed to oblivion. Rama is the most famous hero from Hindu myth. He's stronger than Karna. He's stronger than Arjuna, he's a master of every weapon, and he's supposed to be universe level. In the story, you can hardly tell that he's better than average. Give this man his proper class. Shiki, one of the founding heroines of where this all started. I mean, I guess a person that can inject the concept of death into anything is supposed to be 4-star. A person that can slice through concepts, diseases, and telekinesis. Even in Shiki's worst form, she's putting the feats of actual servants to shame. Then there's Naja. Naja was pretty ridiculous. He was a deity. You know, he had the universe ring, which allows him to overcome nearly any opponent. This allowed him to one-shot a general and a dragon king. He had his cosmic sash, which alone was enough to cause earthquakes and whirlwinds. Then there's his flame wheels and his fire-tilt spear. Now, while he does have most of these things in grand order, the scaling is considerably lower than what it's supposed to be just to make him fit. He too has been robbed. There's Beowulf, again one of the greatest heroes in myth. He ruled as a king for over 50 years. He took down Grendel, who was a giant. He took down his mother, who was a water witch, and he's one of the only 2 people that helped take down an entire dragon. He had the strength of 30 men by himself, and by the way, he's completely human. No divinity, just raw.